www.stampwithelaine.com, and welcome to Fun Friday. Today we're going to have a look at the Irresistably Floral Specialty Designer Series paper, which you will find on page 172 of the annual catalogue. These are white on white floral designs which show up when the paper is inked. The pack contains 2 each of the 6 designs. A diamond shaped one looks like a trellis, polka dot, a stripy one, and these 3 are floral designs, and they coordinate with the Falling Flowers Irresistably Floral Suite die and stamp set here. We get so blinded by all the new stamp sets and bundles that oftentimes we forget about these hidden gems. We think about the emboss resist technique. First we need to have a stamp, the Versamark ink, embossing powder and a heat tool to create that same effect. This has already been done with you in these papers. Several ways of colouring them, and this one is, I did that with an aqua painter. They come 3 in a pack, the round sponges, and I just cut them into 6 and then pop the colour I'm using that sponge for with a piece of coloured cardstock stapled to it, so then I don't mix up my sponges. These wedges can cover a large area very quickly. Use the brayer to brayer the colour on, and each time once you've done that you use a kitchen towel or a soft tissue paper and then just go over the areas you've sponged to make it pop. For this one I used a sponge dauber, and you can see that using the sponge dauber is much more intense than using the more porous sponge of the 2. For this one I used Stampin Up's new roller sponge, and you use it the same way as a brayer by picking up ink on your ink pad and then just rolling it onto your cardstock. So you can see it gives a mottled dappled effect, and again it's fairly quick coverage. For this one I used some alcohol ink and a few drops of ink refill, and I just spritzed this, so it's got a much finer spray. And I found that when I rubbed the towel over the cardstock I couldn't actually make the white circles pop as much. It just seemed to absorb it, and there was a much more even coverage. Lastly, I tried it with the ombre ink pad, and this is a sort of felt ink pad, it's not a sponge one, and I inked it directly from the ink pad to the cardstock. I'll just show you, if you're using it direct from the ink pad, you need to work circles. Now I'll just show you with the large sponge. Now I'll show you with the sponge dauber. And you've got much more control with this because the sponge foam is much denser and less porous. Then I'll show you with this sponge roller. and you can see it takes much longer, and when the ink gets onto the cardstock, it's much lighter. Can you see that? That's the wedge of sponge. This section is the sponge dauber, much more intense, and then the sponge roller, much lighter, and also it's speckled, slightly speckled. I'll do it with the brayer, and you want to use the ink pad in a landscape orientation, so on the big wider side rather than the narrow side, so that it'll pick up ink across the width of your brayer. Then working from off the page onto the page, get the tissue to wipe off the excess, and then you can see the difference if I hold it up. So that's the porous dauber, the sponge dauber, the roller, and finally the brayer. So that's today's topic. There's the dauber, the sponge and the roller, followed by the brayer, the aqua pen and the spritzer. Pad direct from ink pad to cardstock. Tip for today is to invest in a pack of this Irresistably Floral Specialty Designer Series paper, and out of one sheet, if you want to do this sort of effect, you can in fact, using the note card size, get 8 out of one sheet, plus you have 4 3x3 inch square leftovers which you can use on another project. Thanks for watching, and pop back next Wednesday for the third in my Foxy Friends series.